Maca is a root vegetable, but it's also an adaptogen. So can we take it during a fast? There's all these benefits to maca when it comes down to the adaptogenic properties, how it can potentially help our mood, how it can potentially help us with sexual function, all kinds of things. So can you take it during a fast? Is it going to break your fast or is it going to enhance your fast? Let's break it down. And after this video, check out today's sponsor, Thrive Market. So if you're doing any kind of dietary pattern, paleo, keto, vegan, whatever, got to check them out. Okay, they're an online membership-based grocery store. So this way you can log on to Thrive, you can sort by diet type, you can search for any kind of food, whatever, stock up your pantry. They even have seafood and sustainable meat options. It's epic. Then it gets shipped right to your doorstep within a couple of days, and it's amazing. And because they're a sponsor on this channel, you get to save 25% off using the link down below in the description. So that link will save you 25%, plus you get a free gift. So check out today's sponsor, Thrive Market, after this video. Okay, so I might kind of like spoil this video right out the gate when I say that maca is rich in a specific fatty acid called a macamide. Case in point right there, a macamide is a fatty acid, okay, which means there is fat in maca, which means from a digestive standpoint, you do have to have a fair bit of like pancreatic lipase and everything to break it down. So in a digestive sense, it does kind of break a fast. But if we start looking at how it acts in the body, you could probably whittle around and find some like benefits to taking it during a fast. But let's break it down a little bit more. The way that macamides work is they work upon what is called the endocannabinoid system, and they do this specifically by increasing something that's called anandamide. Okay, now anandamide is naturally flowing around, and it usually binds to a CB1 receptor, endocannabinoid receptor, and gives us like a little bit of a sense of well-being. It's part of just our daily life. We have natural levels of anandamide. Now, our bodies go through a natural breakdown process of this anandamide as well. Like, it has its life in our body, and then it breaks down, recycle, different feedback loops, etc. What happens with macamides that are in maca, these fatty acids, is they inhibit the breakdown of anandamides. So you end up having sort of a cumulative buildup of them to a certain extent. Then they do, of course, break down. So it sort of delays the breakdown, which means that you're having more circulating anandamide, which can have an effect on your mood. They're binding to these CB1 receptors that give you a sense of sort of relaxed well-being, which again is kind of what maca is known for within the region that it's grown. Now, when you're fasting, you could see how this could have a benefit, right? Because when you are fasting, you have a high level of adrenaline. It's just a normal process, right? Your beta adrenergic receptors are activated. You have more adrenaline, norepinephrine, catecholamines flowing through. That's what's helping you burn fat and making you feel alert. So in some ways, sure, maca might be able to help kind of balance that, but we still can't forget the fact that it requires some digestion, right? And because it is a root vegetable, it also has some fiber to it. So I caution you taking it during a fast, because it's commonly asked if you can, because people feel really good with it. Now, the other side of the equation that we have to look at, and I'll get to kind of when you could take it, is the whole libido thing. Okay, this is very popular when it comes to maca. I think that's probably the most common reason people, at least in the United States, take it. Well, there's some interesting research that was published in the journal Andrologia, and this looked at that specifically. Now, it was a little bit subjective. They took men that were ranging in age from 21 to 56, okay, and it was a 12-week double-blind study, okay, and they had them consume either 1,500 milligrams, 3,000 milligrams, or a placebo when it came down to maca, and they measured them at 4, 8, and 12 weeks. Well, okay, they did find that the maca group ended up having quite tremendous increases. At 4 weeks, there's a 24% increase in libido or sexual desire. At 8 weeks, it was 40. At 12 weeks, it was 42. So a little bit of a diminishing return after 8 weeks. But when you look at that, you say, okay, there's definitely something going on. However, it's not directly affecting the reproductive system. That's what's interesting about maca. You're not having like this well, it is physiological, but you're not having this physical response. It's not affecting a feedback loop with the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis or anything like that. It seems to be that it's affecting our mood by being what is called a monoamine oxidase inhibitor. Okay, what that means is it's decreasing the amount potentially of circulating monoamine oxidase, which is largely associated with feeling bluesy. Okay, so when you have high levels of this monoamine oxidase, sometimes you see that in people with depression, everything like that. So potentially you're modulating that a little bit. And if you've ever realized, like when you're super stressed out or you're not feeling too great, the last thing, well, I shouldn't say the last thing, but you typically don't want to, go at it, right? So your sexual desire might be a little bit lower, but if you're feeling good, if you've just had a big cheat meal and you're just feeling relaxed, yeah, I mean, it's kind of common theme, right? So it's probably an indirect relationship with maca and sexual function. Now, One of the things that we have to be cognizant of is when you are fasting, you are putting yourself into a survival state, right? Because you're not eating. So reproductive systems in men and women tend to decline a little bit. Sometimes it's short term, and a longer term thing, you can actually have a correction in terms of insulin resistance and all that, because insulin resistance and our reproductive system seem to work very much in tandem. So long term, sure, even though you have a shorter term like decrease in sexual desire, it might increase over time if insulin resistance improves. But I digress. The point is when you are in that survival mode, your body downregulates testosterone production in men. It can downregulate testosterone production in women, which can be great for PCOS, but it also has some other side effects in terms of short-term libido. So there is a practical application for utilizing maca, but you'd want to be using it during your eating period. Okay, and I wouldn't recommend using it every day. What I would do with maca, if you are into it and you want to use it, I would use it only on the days that you are fasting, and you're going to be a little bit more receptive to the fatty acids, and you're going to want to have it with the second meal after you break a fast. It's still a root vegetable that can be a little bit hard to break down digestively, and it still has a decent amount of fat. I mean, not a huge amount, but too much to really have with your breaking a fast meal. And you're probably not going to notice it immediately, because again, if we look at that andrologia study, it was pretty cumulative, 4, 8, 12 weeks. So it takes time. Okay, so there's not a real point in taking it during your actual fast. It's not going to get you a benefit. But if you take it after your fast or in your eating window, there's a chance that you're going to be more receptive and sensitive to it. At least we could hypothesize. So anyhow, as always, keep it locked in here on my channel, and I'll see you tomorrow.